A presentation makes sense of how there have been rehashed stories since the first 100 years in the close to East and Europe about an animal that is regularly depicted as a taker of kids. Indeed, it's one of those old powers motion pictures. So when the film presents the exceptionally pregnant Claire, Emm Wiseman, a couple of scenes later, it appears as the contribution will be a manipulative eager mother in peril flick. While Claire is going to have an extremely terrible week, it's not exactly that. Truth be told, it's a family show at first as Claire's significant other craftsmanship, Scratch Blood, endeavors a wary compromise with his dad Saul, the great veteran person entertainer Alan Cordner. The detail behind their alienation is a piece hazy until craftsmanship sincerely uncovers in a grounded manner how father wasn't there for him while his mom was kicking the bucket, sort of implying that religion wasn't enough for a child's distress. Craftsmanship likewise returns home with confidential, he wants father's memorial service home as guarantee for an arrangement. Indeed, practically the whole of this film happens in a memorial service home, one of my #1 settings for a blood and gore movie.